So here we are on the dashboard of the new WordPress site we've just installed. This is where it'll take you on the first time that you log into it. This is what a default WordPress installation looks like. Not really exciting, but you can customize it to your heart's content. There really is endless possibilities for a WordPress site. So going back to the dashboard, from the top down, this is the default area that you get taken to when you first log in to your WordPress site. When we go to the updates page, you can see I've got a red button there with number 3 on it. It means I've got some updates ready to install. And if we look down there for updates for the install default themes there, I'll select them all and hit the update button. And it'll go through the update process. Now if we go back to that page, now you can see that little button's disappeared. We've got everything up to date. Our WordPress version is up to date and all our plugins are up to date. Moving down, we'll go to the posts page. When you first install WordPress, it comes with a default post called Hello World there. Usually I trash that. To add a new post, hit the Add New button. Give your post a title. I'm going to give it something really exciting there, new posts. And moving down, this is where you'd enter your text. I'm just going to copy over some lorem ipsum filler text to put something in there. For those of you that don't know, lorem ipsum is just some filler text that designers use for putting text in places where nothing's been written yet, just so you can see what it's going to look like once there's text there. If we want to add a picture, we'll hit the Add Media button. That'll open your media library. At the moment there's nothing in there, but we can just upload a file from our computer or other source just by dragging it over and dropping it onto the pane there. And there's our file. Over to the pane on the right, you can add your alt text, which is quite important for SEO purposes, and for sight impaired people, it'll actually read it out to them. Down the bottom there's the dimensions. You've got medium 3x3. You've got thumbnail by 150. You've got large 600 by 400, and you've got full size, which is the full size of the uploaded image. You can actually change these default values, and I'll show you how to do that later on. But we'll just put it in as medium and hit the Insert into Post button. There it is in our post. Now if we want to align that image, just left click on it, and we've got align to left, center, right. So if we align it to left, the text appears to the right. In the center, it'll just center align itself, and to the right, the text will appear on the left. And that has no image alignment. We'll just leave it centered. Now let's give our post a title at the top. It's a great idea to give your pages and posts a heading because browsers look for heading titles and it helps them to be found. Now at the moment you'll see a bunch of tools there, but you see no actual heading tool. On the right hand side, if you click that little icon, it'll show the rest of the tools. And over to the left you can select heading, and that'll turn our paragraph text into H1 heading text. You'll see there's H2, H3, 4, 5 and 6 there. The higher number, the smaller the actual text is. But headings are a great way. You want to put some keywords in there because search engines do look for headings. And we'll hit the center align to align that to the center. We've got bold, italic, add, link, take away, link. So let's put in a link. Just select the text you want to add the link to, hit the add link, put in the URL, copy or paste or type it in, and hit the return arrow to apply it. Our text is now linked. And we'll set a featured image for the post as well. We'll select that same image. This way, if you've got a front page that's displaying your blog posts, it'll come up with these images for each post. Now, if we publish the post, just go over to the Publish button on the right-hand side. Now we can preview the changes at the top, and it'll show us that post. And there's the post that we just created with the image and our linked text. That takes us to the linked site. Now if we go back, you'll see that actually linked from the page and it flipped over to the site. If we remove that link by selecting the text and hitting the Remove Link tab, now hit the Add Link tab again, paste the URL back in there, hit the Settings button and check the box that says Open Link in a new tab. Update it and update the post. Preview the changes again. This time when we click on that link, it should open that website in a new tab rather than leaving our site. And there it is. It's quite often you don't want people to close your site on a browser. You'd rather that wherever you sent them to opens in a new tab. So moving on down, the categories. Well, we haven't got any, but by default it'll come up as uncategorized. You can add categories, whatever it is your blog is pertaining to. You can have food, entertainment, and whatever you're writing about, give it a category or multiple categories. That'll help search engines find it also. Tags, here you can add extra tags and slugs, which will, again, it all helps towards the description. If we go down to the media section, this is where we add our any images that we want to use on the site, and also any files we want to link to, such as PDF files to display and download for our customers. And you saw how to do that. You can just drag and drop. You can actually edit the images on here by hitting the Edit More Details there. And there's a little Edit Image button just below to the left. If we click on that, we can rotate the image, crop the image, slide it left, right, and when you're happy with what you've done, just hit the Update button and it will save those changes you've made. Down to the Pages section, obviously this is where we add extra pages. The sample page there is what comes as default with WordPress. So let's add a new page. We'll call it something really interesting, like New Page. And we'll put some of that lorem ipsum filler text in there. And put an image in there again. There it is at the bottom. We'll just align it to the center. Again, you can put a featured image there if you decide to. Once we're happy, we can publish our page by hitting the Publish button, or save a draft if we don't want to publish it, and come back and work on it at a later date. For those of you that like to write HTML, you can edit it in text mode. For the parent, if you have a page you want to design it on, you can select that page. We don't at the moment. When you're happy, publish it and hit Preview Changes to take a look at the page. And there's the page we've just created. Moving on down to the comments section. This is where once you've got posts published, comments will appear if you allow people to comment on your site. A lot of the time you may get spam and junk people like to post. You can just select the tab at the top, select the appropriate action, move to trash, and hit the Apply button. If you move it to the trash, then you want to empty the trash every now and again. to the appearance. Themes. This is where you can upload new themes for your site and select the theme. This is one of the first things you want to do. There's all kinds of different themes here, and they will let you, these are the 3 that are loaded by default with this site. If you click on the live preview button, it'll actually show you what your site's going to look like with that particular theme. Let's change it to dark background and dark sidebar. There's our little post that we created. And there's the page that we created. And if you don't like that one, move on to a new one. Hit live preview. And there's that one, a lot more minimal looking. When you're happy, you can hit that save and activate button, or if not, you can just hit the X and go back. If you want to add some new ones, hit the add new button, and all kind of themes are going to come up for just about everything you can imagine, from photography sites to shopping sites to office sites. If you can think of it, there is a template for it. And these themes, there's a lot of good free ones out there, but of course there's a lot of good paid ones as well. You can sort them by popular or the favorites, which most people are using at the moment. Preview the ones you want to preview. That's a nice clean looking site with some nice yellow highlights there. And if you like it, install it and activate it. If you don't, hit the X button and go back to where you were. Now the Customize tab, this is where you can set a lot of features. Your site identity, which is your site title and site tagline. And also you can select what they call a favicon or site icon, which will appear up in the browser there to identify your site. You can change the colors. If you want blue text, just hit blue. If you want to change the background color up there from the gray to a different color, say red, just hit that, it'll do that. And hit save and publish if you want to save it, or just go back. You can set the header image here. We've only got the one image there, so I guess we'll use that one. I'll just show you how to do it. We'll crop it off and it'll set that sidebar image to half of that flower there. There we are. When you're happy, you can hit save and publish. Or go back. Background image, that's that red section there. We won't put that flower in there, it'll probably look a bit too much. Not that it doesn't already. Menus, we haven't created any menus yet, so we can't decide on the locations for them. But when we create menus in a little while, you'd come back here and set where you wanted to put them. Widgets. Here's our widgets down the sidebar here, and you can reorder them or get rid of them, remove them, customize them just by clicking on the arrow, and there's remove down there or close, give it a title. And a static front page. At the moment, by default, it'll show your posts revolving around the front page there. If you want to change it to a static page like the one we just created, you're going to want to check the A static page box there on the left hand side. And if we check that, it'll ask us what page. We've only got 2. New page. And then it'll just show our new page. Obviously, unless you're doing a blogging site, you'd have this set because you'd want to create a custom page to showcase whatever it is your site's about. So when you're happy, you can either save and publish or don't, and it'll give you this prompt, and leave the site and it'll go back to how it was before. We check the widgets page. Here's where all our little magic happens with our little widgets. That we can rearrange them in the widget area, which was the sidebar we had earlier on. We can add or remove them and customize them and put them where we want to put them. And it does that in real time. Now to the menus. This is really important. First, you want to give your menu a name and hit Create Menu button. Now we want to add the pages to our menu by just selecting them and hit the Add to Menu button. This will add our pages to our menu. If you want to make a page a sub page, just put it underneath one like that, slightly to the right. It'll make it a sub menu. Don't forget to hit Save Menu. Moving on down to the header section, which is our sidebar at the moment, we can just select an image to fill that gap there. Now save and publish it and go back. We did that previously, but we didn't save it, so that's why it's let us do it again. Same thing for the background. Now if we go to the editor, this is an interesting little section. This, for those of you who know how to code, this is where you add your CSS, custom CSS. But for anybody that's deciding to do that, I would recommend that you create a child theme and do it there rather than in the main theme here, because if they update this theme, you will lose this CSS, or there's a good chance you will lose this CSS because it'll be overwritten with the new style sheet that they've got going on there. So create a child theme if you're going to use custom CSS. Now our plugin section, this is where all the magic happens. If you can think of a job that needs doing, I guarantee that somebody has created a plugin for it. There's thousands and thousands of free plugins out there which do a fantastic job. Just click on the Add New there. I wouldn't recommend looking through because you'll just find you want to have something in mind. Obviously there's popular and recommended, but as I was saying, if you're going to have a shop site, there's a fantastic free one called WooCommerce. You just type it in the search there and it'll come up. There it is. Just hit the install now and then activate it, and it'll enable you to add products and hook up to a PayPal account and take credit cards. Fantastic plugin. And as I said, there's plugins for just about everything. You can have a chat plugin, you can have gallery plugins, any number of all kind of fantastic features. That's what makes WordPress so strong. And this is where you'd install and activate them. Now going on to the Users tab, if you want somebody else to have access to the back end of your site, this is the back end by the way, this is where you'd add a new user. For instance, if you'd hired somebody to add new posts for you and you want to give them a username, add their email, first and last name, website, and a password. And use their generator there because it really does generate some really strong passwords that are hard to crack. Now the type of user you're adding, you don't want to give everybody administrator privileges because that means they can add and delete anything. If they just want to add a few different things, add them as a subscriber. For a full list, do a Google search for WordPress roles and it'll be all explained. When you're happy, just add the new user by clicking the Add New User button. Moving on to the tool section, here's just a handy little tool for copying and pasting things from the web and adding them into your posts. The import and export buttons below are used for importing blog post data and exporting XML files and data to other WordPress sites. Now to the settings. Here's just about everything generally about your site: the site title, the site tagline, where it resides, the URL, the contact email address. You can select whether anybody can register or not. Here, when you're adding users, this decides what the default is. So if you add new, set like that, it'll come up to a subscriber. set the time zone that where you're, well, for the customers you're targeting, the date format, and the time format, small PM, large PM, 24-hour, or custom. And the week starts on a Monday, and language, English, United States. Save any changes you made. Now moving on to writing. Default posts, well, we haven't created any categories yet, but if you had, this is where you could select what category that post came up as first. Post format, do you want an article, a chat, gallery, link, image, quote, status, video, or audio? If you've got somebody that wants to post to WordPress by email, you've got to set up their mail server stuff and login names and passwords here. And a mail category, we have none at the moment, so nothing will show up there. Moving on to the reading section. Here again, it shows you that you can either have a static page or your latest posts and where they are. The amount of posts, if you've got the latest posts selected, showing the most recent first there. And deciding whether it's going to show the full post or just a summary of the post. Moving on to the discussion section, this is quite important. If you don't want people to comment on your site, then this is where you can deny them by unchecking these boxes here that say allow notifications, allow people to post comments, etc. And if you do, you can change the other settings to customize them. Media. As I showed you before, when we're adding media, it had some default sizes. Now this is where you can actually change the sizes, make the thumbnails bigger or smaller, medium bigger or smaller, large bigger and smaller, and then just save your changes there. Permalinks. This is if you want to create custom URLs, come here and just choose what you want to do. You can actually do custom ones as well if you decide to. Once you've decided on what you want to do, this is what will be displayed in the address bar up there. Once you've decided what you want, just go down and save the changes. And this little fella down here, that will hide the menu, and hit it again, it will bring out the menu. And that's about it really. That's an overview of the WordPress dashboard as it is at the moment. I hope that's been useful to you. Once again, this has been Jamie from System 22 and Great Web Design. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.